for those of you watching, right? You already have the schedules printed for every team ready to go hot off the press?
Yeah, they got picked up last night. We got our little schedule ready to go. They'll be in the gift shop at the D and the gift shop here at Circa by 9 a.m. tomorrow. The little ones, and then of course,
get your big boy.
The one every bachelor needs to have on their refrigerator in their living room.
There you go.
You got the big one, so they're ready to go. They're in stock and in stock and ready to go.
So we have several questions from the audience we're going to get to, one of which is how do they get their hands on those calendars? And your response to that every year is?
The response to that every year is just come on and visit the D, come on and visit Circa. They'll be right here ready and waiting for you. So we're selling them at a big loss, but the reason is we want people to come in and pick them up.
Okay. So before we get into the details for this year, can we go down memory lane here? This is Survivor year number 5. And it's taken off like wildfire, right? Can we go back to the beginning of this, though, and remind people, Derek, like your whole idea of bringing a legal contest to the state of Nevada and Las Vegas, and then just like where it was with the entries and the guarantee back 5 years ago?
Oh, I remember the initial discussion. We just completed our very first Circa Million. And we had concern about should we bring a second football contest in? Yes or no? Will it dilute? And then between at that point it was Jeff Benson, Matt Metcalf, Mike Paul, myself. We kind of talked our way through it. Chris Bennett was involved, and there's a few people that were a little more neutral because they hadn't played Survivor. And in this one, Jeff Benson and I had played, and we kind of pushed this one through, and then. Over the years, it kind of developed, and everybody's had their fingerprints on it, and it kind of grew from there. We felt like we did with Millions. We had to put a guarantee because we had no idea if this was going to take off or not. You
Sure.
never know. You take a big risk, and we enjoyed playing it. We were confident. We were confident it would work, but you never know until you put some bucks out there.
Right. And Mike went into that too, Mike, because you had the Westgate scenario, but to come in and be number one in not one but 2 contests, and I'm sure you got to be proud of everyone involved that you're able, and the quick turnaround, it didn't take long that you guys became king of the castle.
Yeah, I know there were 2 people in those early days of VSiN that predicted that by year 2 we would eclipse them. Many said year 3 or 4, but Vanny Maiulo was one of them, and Amal Shaw was the other, and I thought that was overly optimistic. Because nobody even really knew who we were, right? And the building hadn't been built yet, remember. Right? When we got into the sports business, we were over there at the Golden Gate, and we had just leveled this plot of land. So I remember the first year on Millions, we did the 1.5, Gary, right?
Yeah.
Sexy number. And see how it says it's got to be a sexy number. And it was a tremendous late rush, and we got there. And then when we introduced Survivor, who knew what was going to happen? I know he was confident, but I remember the second year we went to 3 million on the Millions, but a million on Survivor because we didn't know how it was going to take. And then, the rest is history, the growth from guaranteeing $1 million to 3 to 6 to 8 last year.
Okay.
Awesome.
And my thought has been on Survivor anyway, Mike, with you on this, that it could get to 12, 15, 20,000 people at some point.
Wouldn't that be something?
I think it's going to get there.
Wouldn't that be something? It'd be a lot of fun. I hope that's the case, Mitch. I hope that's the case.
So then what do you have for a guarantee in Survivor this year?
We're gonna bump it. We're gonna bump from $8 million guarantee last year. We're bumping it to a $10 million guarantee this year.
$10 million.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Good.
All right. Was there any discussion about that, or was that the number and everybody just agreed immediately like it's got to be 10?
Oh, there's nothing we do that gets agreed to immediately. I think my buddy over here, Mike Paul, said we had a spirited debate a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, about the schedule was one of them, yes.
Yeah, schedule and dollar amounts. And effectively, what we're always trying to do is we're always trying to think about a handful of variables that go into this. Where's the trend line going? Where is what do we think the natural growth will be? Where do we have some new marketing coming on? Where do we stand with our jurisdictions? This is the first year that we've got a sports book inside the Silverton. Things like that. Where do we stand with where do we think flight prices will be this summer? Where do we think room rates will be? How's travel going to be? How's the economy look? So there's a lot of different factors that play into it.
Well, Mike is right too. But Mike is right that you're going to have a great story, or in this case, a bad story every time, because you're going to get knocked out on a bad beat. but I also see the comparisons to the World Series of Poker with the main event, how this big, because everyone loves football in the NFL, and this is, I should be able to just pick the winner, right? Shouldn't be that hard, and the amount of money that's on the line.
It's interesting you say that, Paul, because we saw last year especially the poker community get very involved in this contest. And we can talk about that, how this has evolved and Circa Survivor swap and all that and the growth of it. But to Derek's point, now, when we came online in Illinois last year, it was too late already to get in the contest. We opened in October. So those folks that just got exposed to the brand didn't have an opportunity to get in. So we're online there and now in Kentucky as well, and hope to be up and running with a satellite book early in the month of August. So, still they have to travel to Nevada to do it, but you're getting your message out to a lot more people in those two markets when you talk about can we grow it.
Sure. So to confirm that then, that's always, I think, the most popular question from people across the country is, do we have to fly out to Nevada, to Las Vegas, and actually sign up in person? Or, like, I live in Chicago, I live in Lexington, can I do it from where I'm sitting right now in my state? And your answer to that is?
I'll let Derek, he says this very well, so I'll let him explain why it is how it is.
I mean, the way it works is you have to show up in Nevada, you have to register in Nevada. Nevada is a physical registration state. That's where our contest is based out of. That's what's legal. And no, you've got to come. You got to come to Nevada to do it. You can register at any one of our sportsbook locations, whether it's Northern Nevada or any of our locations here in Las Vegas. And you got to come in and do it in person. But you could play from anywhere because you could use a proxy, and a proxy could put your picks in for you. Mm-hmm. I recommend even if you live in Vegas.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. I'm not ashamed to admit it. It happened to this guy on the end. He told the story. Yeah. It happened to me years ago, and it happened to Anthony Curtis. Bad beat with what it. But even locals, life gets in the way, something happens. We're always amazed and shocked by this. If you're a local, you still need to get a proxy because stuff happens.
Yeah, you got to have a proxy. I mean, it's like we buy insurance on our house, right? So
yeah.
You're buying insurance on your pick, and we're talking about a serious amount of money. So, yeah, you can live anywhere, and your proxy will put your pick in for you. So people ask, well, are we going to be able to do it on our phones on states that you're licensed in? And my answer to that's always been, I don't know. Right now, the rules and regs across the country don't allow for it. If the rules would allow for it, we would evaluate it. Mm-hmm. Now the question is, would we want to? I don't know. If it becomes legal, where you could do it, where you don't have to fly all the way to Vegas, would we want to? It would change a lot of things, and a lot of the key elements of how this grew. I think really. Like I said, we all have our fingerprints on this one. This one's really Mike early on that was really adamant about this, far more so than me. But he felt the way we were going to grow our football contest was by doing it without a rake. And, if you're able to register from anywhere in the country, we probably wouldn't be able to do this without a rake. So I'm not sure we'd want to do this from a business perspective. It takes a lot of money with this software, a lot of labor goes into this, a lot of marketing. Here's the gaffe. The reason we do it is simply because we want people to come visit Circa. We want people to come and visit our properties. There's a pretty good chance that if you come here, you're probably going to buy a Coca-Cola or buy a beer. You might even like the joint and want to book a hotel room.
Hello.
Might ever run into you at Stadium Swim or something like that. So that's the whole thing. Is for us, we're using it to bring people out to visit our properties to develop new customers. So that's the gaffe. That's the why we do this.
I'll see you at Barry's tomorrow night.
There we go.
Early dinner, yeah.
Big Balls is signing pictures, too, all the time. He has them on, like the glossy size, I understand.
You got something, Mike. Yeah. What did you want to add?
It's $1 million investment between the marketing and the labor and the technology and the rush fees on these calendars. So Derek's taking $1 million bet that you're going to come here and like the property and come back. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. And by the way, we get to have a hell of a lot of fun for 6 months.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So then on top of that, then the follow-up here would be, would you ever just have a separate contest in different states? I think I know the answer to that, but if you want to just address that.
Well, yeah, let's say we've been in Iowa for a few years. Yeah. We could, but you can't mix pools. So what would we necessarily do? Like, we're going to have the Circa Survivor of Iowa, and we're going to put out a $24,000 guarantee. I'm not quite sure. You get to do the whole thing is that what makes it great is we've been able to grow this by millions every year.
Yeah. Okay, so it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard here. This is always one of our favorite shows of the entire year. Derek Stevens, Mike Pullman Studio. Will continue coming up next, Paulie.
Join the world's biggest football contest with one trip to Vegas anytime before the season starts. Even if you're a local, it's a good idea to get a proxy. Derek's right. The experienced team at Winner's Circle Proxy Service helped clients win nearly $7 million last season. Learn more about using a trusted proxy service. Visit winnercircleproxy.com, winnercircleproxy.com.
The guarantee for Survivor this year is $10 million. Now let's get into some of the details that maybe new people to the audience have to know about this, right? Tell us about the entry fees this year. Did you ever think about tinkering anything like that, and how many entries everybody can get?
So really nothing else has changed,
Okay.
Mitch. It's still $1,000 an entry and a maximum of 10 entries. The bit of the wrinkle to that, and we started this a couple years ago, with that opening Thursday night game, if you lost, you were able to reload. So everybody is eligible to have 10 entries heading into Sunday of the first week. And remember, Saturday, September 7th at 2 p.m. Pacific time is the cutoff to get in these contests. It gives the proxy a little bit of breathing room because the picks have to be in at 4 that day for week 1. So this year we have kind of opening day 1 and 2 since we have the game in Brazil. So yes, you could have 10 entries on Ravens Chiefs on Thursday night. And if that blows, you could buy 10 more entries and take a shot at Packers or Eagles in Copa Brazil. And if that blows, buy 10 more entries. So we should probably put odds up. Will anyone do that? I mean, it's tough to do to begin with.
How many people did that last year?
In total, in 2 years, 25 people have done a re-entry that lost on the Thursday night. So,
And a full re-entry?
I don't know the total numbers, but 25 participants lost on opening Thursday and bought back in for Sunday.
And your poster gal's Jessica Hearns.
Yeah.
Who did, and then you take the dog. How about that?
Yeah.
Goes all in on Detroit to start in the Thursday night game and wins.
Well, that was the surprising thing. 75% of the Survivor entries were on the Lions in that game last year in the opening night.
Wow.
So,
How about that?
How big do you think Jessica's run, ultimately, she didn't win it last year, ultimately could have been, and also, the guy to your right, Derek, Paulie, with his partner, they made it to that, Paulie, was that early December game?
Yes.
Packers against the Giants on a Monday night.
Tommy Cutlets.
Yeah.
Yes, who can forget it? Absolutely.
Both those runs had to be huge for the contest, I would think.
They were unbelievable runs. I mean, the great thing about Jessica Hearns was that she took the dog and the Lions on the road at Kansas City. The Lions upset the Chiefs. But the key thing of why that was important for her, she did it because she was going to re-enter.
Yeah.
Remember, her boyfriend was she was going to re-enter. But because of the upset, now she had to ride her entries out, which means she no longer would have the Lions available on Thanksgiving, which saved her to keep her going. That was the unbelievable part of the story.
That's right. For those who don't know, she's a local. She's a real estate agent. And also, Tommy Hitman Hearns is her uncle.
Yeah.
It was an incredible story.
Yeah, a Detroit pedigree. Hitman Hearns' his niece. It's a very successful real estate agent, luxury real estate agent in Vegas. Who knew she was going to spend November and December hanging out with us over in the sports play?
Yeah, I just think this is going to continue to get bigger and bigger. And you also had the L.A. Jones story where the guy won and he put the wrong pick in on accident. And he found, I had the Packers, not the Lions on Thanksgiving.
Thanks to his proxy, by the way.
To his proxy, right? Because he didn't, right? He got the phone call right before they were kicking off. And I also think Survivor Sweat is a game changer. With my deep run, how Mike pointed out, the poker community now gets involved in this, and you can monetize this and sell pieces. You can even, how about this now? You can be out and come back in and go to this website and buy back in if you're out and decide to do that. So that's also a game changer with this website, what we've seen in the last year. That was phenomenal.
well, we had people sell shares of their live entries, sell the majority of it so they could buy somebody else's entry.
Yeah.
I mean, use the money to do that. So
Yes.
the secondary market is certainly interesting. Let's talk about the 2 special weeks.
Please. We're going to go there next. Yep.
Yeah, because the real debate was about this. But again, we have Thanksgiving with 3 games in it. It's a week unto itself. Bears at Lions, Giants at Cowboys, Dolphins at Packers, and Pat Mahomes on Black Friday, as the NFL shoves him down our throat, is a part of that week. So that's a 4-game week.
Schedule.
You must have your picks in by 10 p.m. Pacific time Wednesday night, okay, for that week.
Okay.
All right? 10 Pacific. Wednesday night for Survivor. And then our second week, to give us 20 weeks, is Christmas, which is, you get some overlap here, Chiefs at Steelers, Ravens at Texans, and we're going to include the Thursday game, Seahawks at Bears, to make that a 3-game week. You need to get your picks in by 9 a.m. on Christmas morning. So you get closer up to the game than you do on Thanksgiving. But 9 a.m. on Wednesday, Pacific time, 12:25. Now that was really
Why'd you cough? What was that about?
Yeah, how come?
What do you
I
think?
just had a little something in my throat. That was all. It was
Okay.
coincidental to that being our
okay.
big point that we were arguing about. But
All right,
I'd like to get into this a little bit, though,
Please.
because as we say, we're into year 6 of this. And for me, the position has always been going into these group discussions to try to hold down the guarantee, right? Not to get too far away from ourselves, but you can't criticize what he's done in growing the contest and being aggressive with the guarantees. This year, the debate really wasn't too much about the guarantees, and I think we all came into it with about the same idea. You might have wanted to push it a little higher, but the real debate was after the schedule came out, Derek had the position of trying to keep just the 2 games on Christmas as a week unto itself, and that Thursday game be part of the rest of that week. Jeff Benson and I were very adamant that we thought that it had to be a 3-game. I think that's a principle of the Survivor. You've got to have a minimum of 3 games to make one of these special weeks. It has own reasons for it. I mean, it's been perfect for us because after the first year, there's been between 2 and 5 Survivor winners, right? It's almost perfect. The number, right? You don't want to have too many, and I don't know if you want to have nobody, just to keep it growing. But we were pretty adamant, and it's really a landmark time in our company where the majority actually got to make the decision.
Derek, your thoughts on what he had to say? Why were you fighting so hard for only 2 games?
No, I initially thought that if we kept Christmas to just Christmas Day, leaving it with 2 games, 4 teams, that would impact a little bit of the game theory early on, where all of a sudden it makes saving the Chiefs or Steelers, saving the Ravens or Houston a little bit more important because it's only a 2-game window. It's a very narrow window. So I thought it would impact strategy a bit more.
It absolutely would.
Mike felt that it was important that we included the Seattle and Bears game. So what it did was this really impacted the importance of the Bears because the Bears now play both on Thanksgiving. Yeah, they're on the road, but you never know. Bears could be good. Lions got a tough schedule. Now you have a little more reason to want to hang on to the Bears because Bears are both a Thanksgiving and Christmas team for as far as our contest goes. So Bears just went up in value, more reason to hold off on them earlier in the season. Seattle then becomes a little bit more important because all of a sudden they're part of that narrow window of Christmas. When we look at Thanksgiving, think about this. I'm going to get into the strategy right here. This is what's been keeping me up all week. The Chiefs, look at the Chiefs, 17
not
games.
EDC, not Sunday
haven't
night,
come down
not
to
Saturday
EDC.
night.
But look at the Chiefs. When you look at this schedule of the Chiefs, we'll take it. The AFC conference, they only have 8 home games, so this one's easier. But when you look at the Chiefs, where do you go? Maybe week 5 home against, or maybe week 10 against Denver, could be week 13. There's value there because it's Black Friday. The Raiders got to go. But after that, I don't see another spot where you're going to see the Chiefs. I don't see another spot unless you're deciding to hang on to them for a road game on Christmas, but I don't think you do that. Go to the NFC, the 49ers. Look at this. Look at that whole schedule. Where do they look?
Absolutely brutal.
It's brutal. Yep. All I can see is week 4, week 5. You got Arizona, New England, week 4 and 5. After that, I don't see where you use them. I'm a diehard Lions fan, and I can't find a spot. I cannot find a spot. So I think the Lions are going to sit on my schedule till Thanksgiving. I don't know where I'm going to go with it. There's just not a lot of easy. This is just unbelievably complex. And since I got home from EDC, I just can't stop thinking about this stuff.
The Merlin reversal's got to catch on too.
Oh,
got to get that thing going.
As you know, everybody in their life at some point is going to be doing a Merlin reversal.
Yeah.
For sure.
What are you going to do?
There's no question.
Derek, the Lions are going to win like 12 games this year.
Man, I'll tell you what, it's a tough schedule. I mean, look at they open with the Rams. It's like the reverse of the playoffs. It's unbelievable.